Morning, soul family. So, I wanted to share something controversial, or what I think might be controversial, based on this trendy thing of cutting people off um, who are giving us quote unquote bad energy. I want to share more of my story and why I am encouraging you to stop doing that. So, here we go. If you found yourself just cutting people off left and right, I understand now there is a time and place for that, right? There's a time if you're in an imminent danger, if someone is just outright refusing to stop, who's going out of their way to hurt you, right? So Sadhguru talks about if there's someone poking a stick, if he's poking a stick and they're like literally harming you, versus someone is doing something, it is just how they operate because of their social conditioning, and that we feel hurt. That's a difference, okay? And for us, I think, who grew up in surroundings where spirituality wasn't really a thing, because we were just being raised by people who were operating in social conditioning, normal for them. This goes around people we work with too, and our bosses. Anyone in the world we're around where there's social conditioning that we could label as quote unquote disrespect or quote unquote harmful, but they're not doing it to be harmful, right? We're perceiving it as harmful, and maybe it's harmful to the relationship, for example, right? Maybe it's harmful to our ego. Maybe it's harmful because we live differently, right? So we're calling it harmful because it doesn't jive with us, or because we've allowed it to disrupt our energies, right? So this message is for people who are very empathetic. This is something I had to grow through as well. And so if you've ever used your empathy as a reason to cut people off like I have, I just want to share with you how I came to the point of realizing I have to stop doing that. And by the way, I've learned, first of all, that we cut people off. It can become a pattern when we learn that people won't change. So when we're surrounded by people who aren't accountable and who continue acting in a certain way or manner, even after we've said, hey, it really bothers me when you do this, we have to remember there was a time and place where that served us, right? But as we spiritually mature, it becomes not helpful to us anymore. Because when we continue to cut off pieces of ourselves, we're going to be the ones to start dying. And how you can tell is if we continue becoming more and more sensitive and aware, but we're continually trying to shape others or shape our environment, that's like a spiritual energetic codependency, okay? And so, okay, I'll start getting into my story now. So when I've grown up very distant from others anyway. I've always stuck to myself because I've been so sensitive, and that's a gift. I'm not knocking your gift. Like, empathy is a huge gift. But I had to learn how to train it. I had to learn how to become separate. Okay, we're all one, but I had to learn how to create energetic boundaries within myself so that I wouldn't involuntarily take on everything within me, I'm the person who I can physically feel other people's ailments, until I was living with someone who had a baby and the baby had a tooth growing in, and I felt toothaches like while the baby was growing in teeth. if you're experiencing things like that, know that that is a gift, but you can choose. You have to learn to choose when to turn it on and turn it off, okay? So how I learned to do that is by number one, well, being grounded really helps, being grounded. But also just creating a new psychology of understanding the energies around you. And instead of living in a duality, like that's good energy, that's bad energy, just realizing everything is energy without judgment. That's just energy. Oh, that's why you'll hear me talk about dense frequencies. But when I'm saying dense or when I'm saying high, we have to really be careful of not judging it as bad and good, right? Even subconsciously. Because energy is just energy, okay? And it's nature and it's beautiful and everything's perfect. And so that's the first thing. Okay, so this again goes back really to my playlist. If you're struggling with being empathetic to the point of, well, shoot, I've cut everyone out now and I'm super alone and I don't feel loved by anyone. I don't feel loved by myself. Like, because when we do that, we're also cutting off love, cutting off our ability to receive love. So the playlist that I put in the description of every video is also a great thing to go through if you would like to embody the kingdom of heaven and become less attuned involuntary to other people's frequencies. So anyway, just stick with me. So I got to the point, so I've always been by myself anyway because I've been so empathetic, like I told you, and I was like, oh, I don't want to feel everything. Like some things just don't feel good. I don't want to not feel good all the time. So I'd be very, very selective with who I hang out with. I'd be very, very selective about what I consume. And that's a great practice. We learn naturally to become very disciplined, and we learn how things affect us, and we learn how everything is conscious. Well, over time, through certain events I experienced, I got to the point of cutting off my family too, because of how they responded to a situation I was in when I was married. And I was saying some things that were going on in the relationship because I felt gaslit by them. And I was like, you guys can't be trusted. If you can't believe me with what's going on, if you aren't being empathetic, I need to cut you off. And that was after I read books on psychopathy to help me more understand people that were around me and make sense of what was going on. And again, those psychopathy books, they served their benefit, but I overcompensated for it. Now my mind could pick out anything, and I almost like when we become so knowledgeable and so aware and so attuned to energy, it's almost like we know so much that it can feel like a curse. So that's what was happening to me essentially. So I was in a period of about 7 months of pure hell. I would literally call it hell, also because of what I was seeing around me. So if you felt like you've been there too, if you feel like you are in hell, it might be that you are meeting parts of yourself where you've been operating in a dualistic manner, meaning you have subconsciously been judging people and energies, or just energies in general, life, whatever, judging things as bad, right? That resides in us, and so we'll see it reflected in the world around us. When we're living in that manner, we're bonding ourselves to trauma. We are becoming bonded with that trauma, and we are slaves to it. Jesus said, a house divided will not stand. A house divided, duality, something being bad and good. We have to remember that dark and light are on a spectrum. They're on the same spectrum. They're just opposites. They're interdependent on one another. And so it is with all the frequencies in our life. So unless someone's going out of their way to physically harm you, and even verbally, if they're like verbally assaulting you and mentally assaulting you, like, go away, cut people out. Yes, cut those people out. But where there's misunderstandings or differences of opinion, differences of of operating, differences of maturity. It's helpful to adopt the eyes of love and to say, oh, that's a frequency. It feels like this. That's a frequency. It feels like this. Almost so then that the frequencies around us we're just in a garden, you know? And so there's plants all around us, and every plant has a different texture. It has a different root system. It has different needs. And so we're a different plant. They're a different plant. And you'll be amazed at how much you can actually, it's not even about tolerating anything anymore, because you become so egoless, and that's the whole objective, right? Is to become egoless so that these energies can all coexist with you, and you're not having any needs. Not in the sense that you are a human being and you might have needs in a relationship, but you yourself are an energy being. You're a beam of light, essentially. Lights don't have needs. So this is a really deep teaching. Okay, this is very deep. This is for if you are seriously at the point of, if you feel like you're in hell, you're beginning to see things, and you feel alone, and you feel like you've cut off everyone, and how can you ever operate in the world because you've isolated so much? It's time to rethink. It's time to regroup. It's time to revisit your lens of the world and energies. So how I got out of that place was by being in the garden, by inviting all my trauma to come forth, by inviting every narrative to be looked at and removing them. That's also why I wrote the book, The Tapestry of Injustice. Is your trauma is your initiation. You're being initiated into a spiritual path when you're in hell, and when you've cut everyone out, and when when you're going beyond duality. It's an invitation to go deeper and deeper and deeper and really step into that light being you are. And so with being a light being comes removing duality, removing the need to be around something good versus bad, because you can be with all, knowing that you give power to all of it. If you don't give power to something, it has no power, right? If I give power to someone who offends me, I'm doing that. They're not doing that. So it's a great practice because it also allows us to work so well with so many others. And so this is also a practice we must do within ourselves, to stop judging ourselves and view the garden inside of ourselves also. I feel like I just threw a lot at you, but I've been having this message in my head for like the past 2 days. And I've been having so many messages come to my head that I'm like, okay, what one should I focus on? And this is the one that jumped out to me. So I hope this helps someone. And if you fall into the trap of just cutting everyone out, just begin evaluating. Begin observing yourself, and remember you're that eagle. Actually, I think a good video to watch after this, if this resonated with you, so either the playlist, which is in the description, or at the end of this video, I'll put about how knowledge to apply after being triggered. Like when we're triggered, how to apply the knowledge from the triggers to embody love and compassion. I'll put that video after this one. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped, and comment if you need any clarity on anything, because that was kind of a word vomit. Okay.